Hello, you guys, and welcome back to FreeTechTV. I thank you guys for tuning back in here today for another exciting tech episode. Today, we're going to be taking a look and breaking down really the newly released Motorola Edge, followed by its bigger brother, Motorola Edge Plus. If you're new to this channel, I'd like to welcome you. Thank you. Make sure to subscribe and like this video. New tech videos coming out every week. And with that, you guys, let's just get right into it. It's COVID season, but we're not letting that stop us. We got plenty of content coming out for you guys. Again, make sure you do subscribe there, and thank you as well. But without further ado, let's dive on in. So yes, exciting news with the Motorola Edge and Edge Plus are both official now. So I'm excited to be going over this with you, and let me know your guys' comments there. But firstly, what we come across is really just the design, how elegant and clean and just premium overall this new phone looks. Over the past few years, Motorola has become really a synonym for good and affordable phones thanks to its super popular Moto G lineup, which I'm sure you have all heard of. The company did not venture into high-end phones with the reboot of the Razr brand, apart from, of course, the price tag there. As we know, the internals were not that of the top elite phones, but here we have it. So the Motorola Edge Plus was just announced, and everything a 2020 flagship should have in offer, it certainly does. So it comes packed. It's accompanied by the Motorola Edge, which is just a slightly spec'd down version of the Edge Plus, and we'll certainly go into those specs. So it's not every day that we get to see a new player into the premium smartphone segment, and we are excited. So let's see what the Edge Plus as well as the Edge have to offer, starting with, of course, the design. Most notably, we can see that this is certainly a refresh for all Motorola phones, really. I mean, you can tell right away by looking at this. This is a premium product. This is what we want to see. Innovation. Here we go. So on the front, you can see that screen to body ratio is pretty much maxed out. And like some of the previous Samsung phones, we see that this does have the 90-degree edge on both sides of the phone. Motorola does take advantage of that though, and seeming to have some extra features, especially for gaming, so you can use some triggers on those, but we'll of course have to wait until it's fully released and get a hands-on model so we can test that out and see how practical it really is. Outside of that, the back, super clean again, nice subtle Motorola logo, followed by 3 cameras as well as the sensors there. Now, one thing I wish the flagship phones could do without is really that camera bump, but unfortunately that's still a thing in 2020, but hopefully that will go away soon. We can just have a nice clean flat back so it doesn't rock or anything on the table. I'm sure a lot of you feel the same way with that as well. Now the screen is going to be a 6.7-inch OLED display, again 90 degrees on both sides, folding over there, and it gives it a very sleek look. The aspect ratio of the display is going to be 21:9, which does make it quite tall, but on the plus side, it should be more comfortable to hold. Motorola isn't the only one to be doing this. We've seen in some of the previous Sony phones that they have also been making their phones taller as well. Then flipping over the phone back to the front of the phone, we can see that there is a tiny hole for the selfie camera, and that was just as expected as we saw from previous renders. So far the Edge Plus is really checking all the boxes there of a premium phone. The Edge Plus does come in 2 colors, Thunder Gray and Smoky Sangria, while the regular Edge will be in Midnight Magenta and Solar Black. The phone is going to weigh in close to that of the iPhone 11 Pro, so the Edge is going to be coming in at 203 grams, where the iPhone 11 Pro is going to be 226 grams, so pretty much the same there. But there is some good reason for the extra bulk, as these phones come with a massive battery. Speaking of which, time to dive into the specs. So the Motorola Edge and Edge Plus specs, let's take a look at a head-to-head comparison there. So unlike some other flagship duos, the Edge and Edge Plus share the same body. Their differences are mainly within their hardware there. So the main specs, starting with the Motorola Edge and Edge Plus, the display is going to be a 6.7-inch Full HD OLED display with a 90 hertz refresh rate. So that's awesome. I love to see the phones pushing up that refresh rate there, especially if you're active and gaming a lot on your phone. You'll certainly notice that it'll be a much more enjoyable experience for you. Now, one difference here is going to be firstly starting off with the processor. So on the regular Edge, we're going to see that that has a Snapdragon 765, which is certainly going to be enough processor for pretty much your everyday uses. But the Motorola Edge Plus, we're going to see that bumped up a notch to the Snapdragon 865. Both are going to have 5G connectivity, so that's awesome, but we expect that here in 2020 and expect that trend to continue down to even more mid-range phones. The RAM on the Edge is going to be 4 gigabytes versus on the Motorola Edge Plus, where you're going to get 3 times that. You're going to get 12 gigabytes of DDR5 RAM for improved performance there. So that's awesome, you guys. Storage on the Edge is going to be 128 gigabytes expandable, and the Edge Plus is going to be double that, 256 gigabytes, but is not going to be expandable there. Now the batteries, again, massive batteries. Love to see this. Thank you, Motorola, for letting us go 1-2 days without a charge. So Edge is going to have 4,500 milliamp hour versus a 5,000 milliamp hour on the Edge Plus. Both are going to support 18-watt fast charging. However, the Edge Plus is going to have additional to that 15-watt wireless charging as well. So that's awesome. One neat thing that I love that a lot of the flagships are really starting to do and becoming more of a trend is that in-screen fingerprint scanner. I love that. Keeping the forehead and chin off the phone there is really nice to see, and really just gives it a much cleaner look. And that innovation is really really quick. So it's a lot better than having to hold up your phone, having to scan a picture to unlock your phone, or having to type in a pen. So I'm glad to see that they presented that here as well. So as you can see, the Motorola Edge Plus has really all the bells and whistles that you might expect from a 2020 flagship. From a high refresh rate, 10-bit display to DDR5 RAM, and of course a giant battery. Even with a 90 Hz refresh rate option on this phone, it should easily last you 2 days. And the fast charging is not the most powerful in the market right now, but Motorola says it is prioritizing the battery capacity over charging speed, pointing out that you won't be charging the device that often anyway, so it seems like a fair trade to us. And this phone is boasting the most powerful stereo speakers. Again, we'll have to actually test that out and see if that turns out to be true there. They are tuned by Waves, a Grammy award-winning company, so they should sound pretty good and crisp as well. Now, one thing that is missing here that we do see on a lot of other flagship phones and really starting to become a standard, and that's going to be the IP68 rating. However, Motorola said that this phone is a water repellent design, but it is not tested according to the IP68 standards. So that's unfortunate there. So you do want to still be careful around this phone, around freshwater pools, anything like that. It could be a deal breaker, but otherwise, this phone checks all the boxes. And flipping the phone back over, we can see that there is 3 camera array here. Now, this is going to be another big difference between the Edge and the Edge Plus. So, starting with the Edge, the main camera is going to be a 64 megapixel f1.8, whereby the Edge Plus is going to be 108 megapixels. Now, we know that these numbers don't mean everything. We'll have to wait for further testing to see how those images stand by those megapixel count there. Second camera on the Edge is going to be a 16 megapixel with a f of 2.2. That's going to be a ultra wide lens, and that is going to be the same actually on the Edge Plus there as well. The third camera on both phones is going to be an 8 megapixel, and it is going to be on the Edge a 2x telephoto, and on the Edge Plus that is going to be a 3x telephoto there. The force sensor is just going to be time of flight sensor, and the front camera on both phones are going to be the same 25 megapixels f2.0. But that's it, you guys. That is a breakdown of the new Motorola Edge and Edge Plus. Let me know your thoughts of these phones in the comment section below. I'd like to thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe and like this video, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Till then, this is FreeTechTV signing off.